Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My English name is Sherry, and today we will going to talk about what makes Chinese learning difficult to learn. And most people think that it's very difficult, so is it really hard to learn? Today I will focus on speaking, listening, reading and writing, allow you understand which parts you still struggling, and let's begin. So before we learn a new language, we know it's important to pronounce them correctly, right? And then for the Mandarin, as an example today, Pinyin is our essential to learn about pronunciation. So you can see that this word, we will say 谢谢, and you may know that this will be mean thank you, right? You can see that there are some signs on the top of the Latin alphabet, and this will be our tones. So let's know a little bit about history of tones. So you can see that the starting time of tone is not very clear, and some people may think that it started from around 1000 BC. You know what? Tone is not just the represent meaning and different Chinese Hanzi. In the past, Asian people would like to use tones as the standard way to create a good poetry. That's what we call 押韵. So although tones can't represent any meanings in speaking, but they are very important to represent something. We have 4 main tones for language learning, but we totally have 5. Another one is neutral tone. This one, for example, ma, I will use the first tone, ma, so this could be represent mother, and then the second tone with ma, and then ma, and then ma. So you can see that different tone with different Hanzi could be with different meanings. And then the second part, we will say pinyin syllables. So pinyin syllable, there are 2 parts. The first part will be initial, and then the second part will be finals. Before we learn how to pronounce them, let's try to know more about the background of pinyin. So why we need them? How they produce. So Pinyin began as a way to explain Chinese to Western learners. It wasn't until the Qing dynasty that Chinese people then actually started considering adopting a form of spelling in their writing system. So Pinyin is the official romanization system to help Western learners to learn about Mandarin. Now you know some history of Pinyin. Now let's go to the writing parts. So you could see that Chinese character, what we call Hanzi, is the character to represent meaning, right? And you can see that there are several different components to combine together to create a Hanzi, and that's what we call strokes. Different strokes, and they are with the different position in the Hanzi, could be with the different meanings. And we also have some special rules when we are going to write them correctly. Compared to English writing, in my opinion, English writing is much more easier. So the first thing we need to learn about is English letters. So there are 26 English letters to create all English words, right? And as long as you know and write it down correctly and know how to spell the English words correctly, then you will learn English. It's much more easier, right? But for the Hanzi, it's not just you need to learn about strokes. We will have more than 50,000 Hanzi at the moment, but if you want to just reach basic conversation level, then you will need to learn about 250 words. But if you want to have a fluent level for the daily use, so you will need to learn about 750 words. We will have some rules when we are going to write down about the Hanzi. We have lots of writing style of Hanzi, right? And I think it's very similar when we are going to write English. You could use this style to write it down, and we could use another style to write it down. And we want to keep our Hanzi tidy. So that's why when we are going to learn Chinese Hanzi, we will use 田字 table to control our layouts and how we're going to combine the Hanzi together. Then let's jump to the reading part. So you could see that reading part could be much more easier than the writing, because nowadays you could see that most people use typing on the computer, and we just need to learn about pronunciation, what's the pinyin for the Hanzi, and type it down. That's it. And as long as you can recognize the Hanzi, that's all about the basic background of Chinese learning. One more thing, how we going to evaluate the Chinese learning level. So as you know, when we are going to study abroad, for example in the UK, we will use IELTS as the standard way to evaluate your English skills. For the Mandarin, we will use HSK to represent your Chinese learning, whether you have basic level, for example HSK1. So you need to learn about how to describe time and how to describe number. Also, you may need to know about how to introduce yourself and how to have a greeting and very basic greeting conversation, and that's it. And that's all we're going to talk about today. At the moment, which part is the most difficult for you? Is it listening, speaking, writing, or reading? If you are interested about improving your Chinese learning, you could check down below. I will put the link below. So which part is difficult for you? You can comment below. Let's see. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.